Lysistrata, by Aristophanes. In the heart of Athens, where the Acropolis loomed over bustling agora and sunlit streets, the Peloponnesian War had dragged on for years, a relentless grind of bloodshed and pride. The men of Greece, Spartans, Athenians, and their allies, clashed with no end in sight, leaving women to mourn sons, husbands, and lovers. Lysistrata, a sharp-witted Athenian woman with eyes that burned like embers, had grown weary of the endless strife. Her heart ached not just for her own losses, but for every woman in Greece, their lives tethered to the whims of men who seemed to love war more than home. One dawn, as the first light kissed the Parthenon's marble, Lysistrata summoned the women of Athens to a secret meeting. She stood before them in the shade of an olive grove, her voice steady but urgent. "Sisters," she said, "we've wept long enough. The men won't stop this war. They're too stubborn, too drunk on glory. But we have power they cannot ignore. If we unite, we can force peace." The women, Calanus, Myrrhine, and others, listened, their faces a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Calanus, ever pragmatic, raised an eyebrow. "Force peace? Lysistrata, what can we do? They don't listen to us." Lysistrata's lips curled into a sly smile. "We'll withhold what they crave most. No more love, no more intimacy, until they lay down their spears and talk peace. We'll swear an oath, all of us, to deny them our beds." A ripple of gasps and giggles spread through the group. Myrrhine, young and spirited, clapped her hands. "Oh, that'll drive them mad. But can we hold to it? It's no small thing to swear off that." "It's our only weapon," Lysistrata said, her tone unyielding. "But we won't stop there. We'll seize the Acropolis, where the war funds are kept. Without money, their battles will falter. Are you with me?" The women hesitated, glancing at one another. The idea was bold, even outrageous. Yet the weight of their shared grief, the empty hearths, the endless funerals, steeled their resolve. One by one, they nodded. Lysistrata led them to a sacred altar, where they swore their oath over a jug of wine, pledging chastity until peace was secured. The wine was poured, the vow sealed, and the women's laughter mingled with determination. Word of the plan spread beyond Athens. Lysistrata sent messengers to Sparta, Thebes, and Corinth, calling on the women of all Greece to join the strike. Soon, a delegation arrived. Lampedo, a sturdy Spartan with a no-nonsense air, led the Spartan women, while others from rival cities followed. They too swore the oath, their voices echoing with defiance. "If we stand together," Lampedo said, gripping Lysistrata's hand, "no man in Greece can resist us." With their pact forged, the Athenian women moved swiftly. Under cover of night, they stormed the Acropolis, overpowering the startled guards with sheer numbers and cunning. The fortress, home to Athens' treasury, was now theirs. They barricaded the gates, armed with little more than resolve and the moral weight of their cause. The old men of Athens, too feeble to fight in the war, gathered outside, outraged. They shook their fists and cursed, calling the women traitors. "You'll starve up there," one croaked. "Give up this madness." Lysistrata leaned over the ramparts, her voice cutting through their protests. "We'll hold the Acropolis until your sons and brothers end this war. Go tell them their beds are cold and their gold is locked away." The old men tried to smoke the women out, piling wood at the gates and setting it ablaze. But the women were ready. They doused the flames with pitchers of water, drenching the men in the process. The elders retreated, spluttering and humiliated, their threats drowned in laughter from above. Meanwhile, the sex strike began to take its toll. In Athens, Sparta, and beyond, men returned from the front lines expecting comfort, only to find their wives resolute. Myrrhine's husband, Synesius, was among the first to crack. He appeared at the Acropolis gates, disheveled and desperate, clutching their baby to soften her heart. "Myrrhine, come home," he pleaded. "The child needs you. I need you." Myrrhine, coached by Lysistrata, played her part with cruel precision. She emerged, feigning concern, and led Synesius to a makeshift bed. She teased him, promising love, fetching blankets and pillows, only to vanish at the last moment, leaving him in agony. "Peace first," she called, retreating behind the gates. Synesius staggered away, muttering curses, his frustration a mirror of countless others. The women's resolve was not without strain. Some wavered, sneaking off to meet their husbands, but Lysistrata rallied them with fiery speeches. "Think of the blood spilled, the lives lost. We're so close. Hold fast." Her words rekindled their fire, and the strike held. In Sparta, the men fared no better. Lampedo and her women stood firm, their husbands growing surly and restless. The war, already strained by the loss of Athenian funds, began to falter. Generals on both sides faced mutinies, their soldiers distracted by thoughts of home. Whispers of the women's rebellion spread, sowing discord in the ranks. Days turned to weeks, and the pressure mounted. A Spartan herald arrived in Athens, his face flushed with embarrassment, his cloak barely concealing his discomfort. He sought Lysistrata, stammering, "The Spartans, they want to talk peace. The men can't take it anymore." Lysistrata greeted him with a knowing smile. "Tell your leaders to send envoys. We'll meet them here at the Acropolis. But the women of Greece will set the terms." The herald departed, and soon after, Athenian and Spartan delegates arrived, their swagger diminished, their eyes pleading. Lysistrata stood before them, flanked by the women of Greece, a united front of Athenians, Spartans, and others. She spoke with authority, her voice carrying the weight of their collective sacrifice. "You've bled Greece dry for pride and power. No more. You'll sign a treaty, end this war, and restore peace to our lands. Only then will we return to you." The men, worn down by desire and the collapse of their war machine, had no choice. They grumbled but agreed, their hands trembling as they signed the treaty. The women cheered, their voices rising like a chorus of victory. The Acropolis gates swung open, and the treasury was relinquished, not as a defeat, but as a triumph. That night, Athens and Sparta celebrated together, a rare moment of unity. The women, true to their word, ended their strike, reuniting with their husbands in a joyous, if slightly wary, reconciliation. Lysistrata watched from the sidelines, her heart swelling with pride. She had no husband to return to, no lover to embrace, but her victory was sweeter than any embrace. She had given Greece peace, not with swords, but with the unbreakable will of its women. As the feast unfolded, songs filled the air, and wine flowed freely. The men, chastened but relieved, raised toasts to their wives, half in jest, half in awe. The women danced, their laughter a reminder of their power. Lysistrata slipped away, climbing to a quiet spot overlooking the city. The stars above glittered, and below, Athens glowed with life. The war was over, at least for now, and she allowed herself a moment of hope that peace might endure. But Lysistrata was no fool. She knew men's pride could reignite old grudges, that treaties could fray. Yet for this night, she let the victory stand. She had shown the world what women could do when they stood as one. And if war ever threatened Greece again, she would be ready, her voice sharp, her will unbroken, to lead the charge once more.